Raheem Mostert, he wants a trade, and today's show is brought to you by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com/chat, where you're going to be able to save 20% off and get free shipping. Your balls, Tom, they're going to thank you. So Mostert, he wants out. He wants a trade.
Yeah, he's requested his trade after he and the Niners tried to work on a different contract, extension, modification, whichever term you guys want to end up using there at all, I think applies here. Mostert is set to make $6 million over the next 2 years. That includes both his base salary and bonuses for like workout bonuses and roster bonuses as well.
Yep.
That's what he's going to make. It's not very much. It's very cheap, and Mostert's agent said it was more from a special teams perspective. He wants to be paid more like Tevin Coleman, who's going to make 4.87 rounded up.
Correct.
Includes bonuses too. So you might have seen a mention of 4.55.
That was his
I
base.
included the bonuses there to keep it consistent. So he wants to get more money. Now his agent, Brett Tessler of Tessler Sports, tweeted this out, and this is how the news came about. After months of unproductive talks with the Niners about fairly adjusting Raheem Mostert's contract, which paid him for special teams, we have requested a trade. Disappointing that it would come to this for a guy who led all NFL backs in yards per carry and helped lead them to the Super Bowl. So he's not happy with the way the Niners and Mostert's contract talks have gone, Mitch.
Yeah, and I understand it from both sides, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think, the reason why we're going to ask you guys this question here is, what should the 49ers do, either extend or trade him, is because if I'm Mostert, I want to get paid. Because like his agent said, I led the league in yards per carry. Was also a major reason why we made it to the Super Bowl. I mean, you talk about a Super Bowl playoff run. I mean, he's racking up 200 yards in games. I mean, he absolutely roasted the
And he's a running back with a short shelf life and is almost 30. He's limited time to cash in.
The issue is you're Kyle Shanahan, and literally everywhere he's been, whether it's been with the Falcons or the 49ers, I mean, if you're a team that really can live by a running back by committee, I think it is the 49ers, and I think it's Kyle Shanahan. So here's a $1 million question, right? Type E for extend or type T for trade. What should the 49ers do with Raheem Mostert? Tom, where do you lean?
I think I would lean – I think I might actually extend him.
Yeah,
which is weird for me to say because I'm not normally against that. But Mostert's coming off of a good year.
Correct.
Can I find a way – and this is my caveat here – can I find a way to make it almost a fake extension? Like, can I get him in for one more year? Structure the deal in a way that I can get him in for this year and then move on from him? Like, can I cheat and pay him a little bit extra this year, take his average money from a little over $3 to give him that extra $2 million? It's just $2 million.
Sure.
I can make that work. Can I make that happen and kind of backload the deal and move on from him next year? His agent should be aware of that, but that's what I would try to do. And if I fail that, then I would explore a trade. Or, more simply, Mitch, what I think is your answer, I just call his bluff.
I call his bluff as well because I have Tevin Coleman. And yes, when Tevin Coleman's healthy, I actually think Coleman is a better running back than Mostert. I'm not going to rely on Jerick McKinnon because, well, there's no reason that if I was a 49ers fan, I would ever rely on Jerick McKinnon. So what team should trade for Raheem Mostert? The real issue here is, again, you're dealing with an interesting offseason, and he's at the running back position. It has nothing to do with Mostert. He is a great running back. The issue is it's a position that not a lot of teams trade for. Jadeveon Clowney next up here on NFL Daily by Chat Sports. And is he heading back to Seattle? Because apparently the odds, they've started to increase because, well, you're reading the tea leaves, Tom. The Browns, with them restructuring Olivier Vernon's contract, hey, I think Seattle now, the odds are there.
That's the report out of the Seattle Times, and it's almost less of a report and more of just like obvious dot connecting of the Browns were interested. They made a big offer to Clowney. He said no, or made an offer to Clowney, I should say. Then they restructured Vernon's contract, which did free up some money from them with what Vernon had.
Correct.
But they could have cut him for no good money. So they actually locked themselves into keeping Vernon on this roster, which pretty much takes them out of the Clowney sweepstakes. With the Browns out of the running, the options continue to dwindle, and if everything else falls through, one of the most sensible, if not the most sensible options for Clowney is to simply say, you know what, I'm just going to take this one-year deal with Seattle, go back to a place I'm comfortable, go back to a place I know I can have some semblance of success, and just try again next year. So the logic of it absolutely tracks.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, it's also in the unpredictability, if that's even a word with the NFL.
It is.
Yes? Cool.
It's a word.
But if you're an NFL team and you are a little bit worried about Clowney, I mean, we can all agree which team knows him the best. I think every person watching the show right now.
Houston's not happening, by the way, so not that one.
Okay, that's very fair. It is the Seattle Seahawks. And I think if you would have asked me a week ago, 2 weeks ago, the top Clowney destinations, I don't know if this would have been my list. But I honestly think it's the Seattle Seahawks, Tennessee Titans. They're in a league of their own. And then a distant third is the Las Vegas Raiders, who are reportedly interested as well. So for Clowney, you really got to figure out who can pay you the most, where's the best fit. And I think for him, he takes a one-year deal. And honestly, I am really starting to lean on him going back to the Seattle Seahawks.
Clowney's going to take an L here no matter what. He misjudged his market. He's not going to maximize his money. Now I think his goal needs to be, okay, where do I go will make the most sense for me? And I wonder if that's Seattle. I still think Tennessee could be a threat, which would open up maybe Everson Griffin or even a different defensive end instead for Seattle.
Literally make the most sense and where he can make literally the most sense in dollars. So we want you to predict where will Jadeveon Clowney play this season. I want you to scroll on down, go in the comments section, and let us know. Do you think it's the Seahawks, Titans, Raiders, or somebody else? Tom, I hope my future looks a lot like Patrick Mahomes' at some point, making $503 million.
You can shave off all the zeros and you'll be fine.
It'd probably be the only thing I'd be shaving. You guys can shave too with the Lawnmower 3.0 at Manscaped. Now, I'll get back to what we're talking about here. So Colin Cowherd, he went on and tried to predict the next 12 years for Patrick Mahomes.
Fun idea.
Because anytime you see the record-setting contract in sports, you're going to speculate, right? Because if you're paying a guy up to $503 million, you're going to expect to win a lot of games. So basically what happened here is Cowherd goes and tries to predict what he does from a personal standpoint and what he tries to do from a team's perspective as well, because now that he is the highest-paid quarterback in the NFL, and relatively it's not really close, young player, has a high upside. I do think it's pretty interesting, and, well, Cowherd's an interesting dude, and I'll be honest, I was kind of surprised with some of his predictions. I thought he was a little bit low in certain areas here. So here's what Cowherd had predicted for Mahomes from a personal standpoint. He said he's going to average 11 wins in the regular season for the next 12 years.
Okay, that's playoffs every single year.
Yes.
I'm on board with that. That's fine.
He's going to average 35 passing touchdowns.
Which is going to put you right near the top every single season.
Almost every single season. So Lamar Jackson last year led the league with 36. Total Pro Bowls, 10.
I'm surprised there are 2 that were left off there.
See, I'm trying to figure that one out
because it's
as
a
well.
popularity contest.
To me,
I would have gone 12.
To me, that almost means that he gets hindered 2 years. Total MVPs, 4. I thought that's actually a mark that I think is reasonable.
I agree, and I know that 4 maybe seems low. I'm curious how
an MVP 1 out of every 3 years.
Yeah, and not only that, like you
low.
can go back and look at the historical numbers. Tom Brady has 3.
Correct.
Peyton Manning has 5. The other guys, Johnny Unitas has 3. Like to win multiple MVPs,
it ain't easy.
Is extremely rare.
It ain't easy.
Like way more rare than I think we realize. So I see a 4. I see a 1. I think that I see at least 5. That's a lot over the next 12 years.
I mean, it's not a career. It's the next 12 years,
That's super high.
Yeah.
Super high.
I mean, think about a player like Russell Wilson. He has 0, right? So just think about that. So how many MVPs for Patrick Mahomes over the next 12 years? Continue to get your votes in here, because obviously when you look at what he's done in just 31 games, I mean, it's staggering, right? I mean, he had a year where basically it was his first year in the NFL, basically as a starter.
A game.
And I mean, he threw 50 touchdowns in basically his first full year as a starter. But then also it's what he's been able to do in the playoffs, which has just been absolutely insane. And I saw DeAndre Hopkins' tweet the other day. He's like 24 reasons, and he was like 0% like doubt that the contract's not going to work.
Some shade at Houston, by the way, with that tweet.
Let's be real,
brutal.
Fully deserved, because not many quarterbacks can put up points the way that Patrick Mahomes has been able to do it, whether it's in the regular season or whether it's been realistically in the playoffs. And I'll tell you what, he's been dropping dimes left and right on defenders. And if you're trying to get some dimes in your life, guys, go make sure you have the perfect package. And you can get that for 20% off and get free shipping at manscaped.com/chat. So football is a game of inches. And, well, when you're making $503 million, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be racking up a lot of inches and yards on the football field. If you're trying to get that extra inch, the perfect package is the way to do it. The Lawnmower 3.0, what you see on screen right now, is the best tool out there for you men out there trying to really just help out, okay? Got to clean
something
up.
about needing that extra inch?
Oh, dude.
Is that what you're saying?
Hey, I need every
That's
inch.
a personal problem for
every inch I can get. But I'll tell you what, I feel even bigger in these boxers right now. The best boxers you'd ever buy, and the traveling kit as well. I'll be honest, I took this bad boy home with me this past weekend and spilled some toothpaste It didn't leak out. Like, this is
Okay.
a very,
There you
very
go.
good bag. I promise y'all. You'll be able to get
Mitch
this
strikes
one.
again, but yeah,
Be able to
makes
get this at manscaped.com/chat, 20% off and get free shipping. All right, let's go back now, Tom, to Colin Cowherd's predictions. We'll say from a team standpoint now. Division titles, 8, AFC Championships, 3, Super Bowls, 1.
which is 1 and 2 in Super Bowls is what he's saying there.
Interesting.
Is that too low? Too high?
I thought so.
It's definitely not. That's not too high. I don't think.
See,
is it too low?
I do. I think for the Chiefs to only go to 1 out of every 4 AFC Championship games, or win out of 1 out of every 4, I thought that was low. But for Super Bowls, only 1 out of the next 12. Man, that was actually kind of surprising to me.
It is also a lot harder to win a Super Bowl. Like,
Sure.
ask Aaron Rodgers, ask Drew Brees. Like, getting multiple titles if you're not named Tom Brady is super hard. At the same time, if there is a new Tom Brady, isn't it Mahomes? So I'm going to take the over on 1.
You're going to take the over on 1?
I will take the over. Maybe it's over-under is 2.5. 2.5 is the over-under.
See, I'll
go Coward.
I might say 2 here, and the reason why I'll also say 2 is, well, not that I dislike Andy Reid. I think he's a great coach, but he has kind of been haunted with the whole Super Bowl winning thing.
And he won it just now.
So fill in the blank. How many Super Bowls for Patrick Mahomes? All right, Tom, the next quarterback to get a big deal could be Deshaun Watson. And how does Patrick Mahomes' record-breaking deal impact him? Well, first, we're going to walk you through kind of the latest around it, and then we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive. So the report right now is no contract extension is imminent for Deshaun Watson, and his payday, though, it is going to be coming, and it could be around $40 to $42 million.
Yeah, Watson is not going to have urgency to get a deal done. He is far more likely to take the Dak Prescott approach than the Patrick Mahomes approach of getting a deal done early and locking yourself in significantly long term.
Yeah.
The Dak Prescott deal is going to have a massive impact on Deshaun Watson. We'll talk more about that here in just a second. The Mahomes side of it, though, that is what's critical.
Correct.
Because it is a much easier comparison, Watson and Mahomes, than Dak and Mahomes, because both of these players, as of right now, still have 2 years left on their contract. So it becomes easier. It's easier math to try to compare the two. Now, Mahomes' deal sets him at $45 million per year, significantly more than what Russell Wilson made. Now, it's 10 years, $450 million extension.
Yes.
It's really $12,503 because there's money left on that deal. From the extension-only standpoint, looking at the deal, it's almost a $40 million and a $50 million per year extension.
Yep.
For the first 5 years of Mahomes' deal, and that includes the years that were left on the contract. So from right now to 5 years from now, it's 5 years, $144 million. He averages just under $29 million per year.
Yep.
And the guaranteed money is right about fully guaranteed. Like, he's going to get all of it. That's just the way it's structured. So if you want to do the alleged $3-year extension Watson wants, from the extension perspective, if you just duplicated Mahomes and then Watson has a little bit less left on his deal. I just kept it the same for simplicity purposes. So kind of view this as more of like the max of what I think the Texans would be willing to pay Watson on a 3-year extension only.
Okay.
$339 per year. That's right in line with what Mahomes got in the first 3 years of his extension. The longer you typically go on a deal, the more per year you end up paying. So if you start going 4 or 5, you're probably starting to approach that $45 million price tag at that point.
Wow. So Tom's thinking about the $39 million range, but the original report did come out about 40 to 42.
Which I think includes going to 4 or 5 years, because Houston will want to go longer on that.
No, I agree. So we want you guys to weigh in here your options. So type O for over or type U for under. Deshaun Watson, $42 million a year. I'm seeing right now a lot of U's. Continue to let those votes come in here on NFL Daily. Let's talk about another big-time quarterback here, Tom, where it is Lamar Jackson, but apparently some executives have some doubts about Lamar. And I don't know if you saw this. Basically what happened was ESPN ranked the top 10 quarterbacks in 2020, but this was according to a poll. A poll with 50 NFL personnel. So the fact that there's a poll, NFL, 50 of them, it was kind of jaw-dropping to me, and I saw it on Get Up where they basically had Jackson not in the top 5 of quarterbacks, and I was like, really? That was surprising.
So ESPN pulled a bunch of different executives and coaches and personnel, and we're like, okay, who are your top quarterbacks this year? Jackson didn't make the top 5. And I am fully convinced that some of the executives and personnel who were interviewed haven't watched football the past 2 years. Legitimately have not watched it, because not only did Lamar Jackson rank outside the top 5, he was as low as 12.
Yes.
He was out. Someone ranked Lamar outside the top 10. The reigning NFL MVP isn't a top 10 quarterback.
Mind blowing.
Tom Brady was ranked number 1 by somebody.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers came in at 3, when if you've watched Rodgers, you know he started to decline. Flip Rodgers and Lamar, and I think we have a fine list.
I mean, you and I about, I'll even say 2 months ago, we ranked our top 5 quarterbacks, and both of us had Lamar in our top 3, and I totally agree. I think he does deserve to be. But the fact that we have all these NFL executives not even putting him in the top 5 quarterbacks, I was like, are you kidding me? This man is just absolutely blew up the league last year, really, when you think about it from a passing and rushing standpoint. So we're going to let y'all settle a debate here. Do you think that Lamar Jackson is a top 5 quarterback? Why for yes and for no? I would be very shocked. I think our viewers are a lot smarter than some of these personnel or executives. I think it's an absolute yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, looking at what Lamar Jackson has done from what we've seen in the NFL, how you say he couldn't be top 5 unless you're trying to argue, injuries or stuff that didn't happen on the field.